So here is the California Secretary of State website. This website uh, is basically has an online dashboard now where you can create an account and um, track forms that you have to update here, including your California Statement of Information if you have a business entity. So if you have a corporation or LLC, you're required to keep your business information up to date. For an LLC, it'll be every other year, and for a corporation, it'll be every year. And so here what we can do is basically just go to a business search, and you can pull up your company name. So in this case, I'll use my entity. And here I'm going to click on, I have an old one that I had terminated at one point, but then reopened the same business years back. But here, if I click on this, on the right-hand side in this gray panel, when it comes up with the corporation number or entity number for the state, and it'll show the status of the entity with a franchise tax board, good, Secretary of State, good. I'm not sure what VCFCF is or agent, but basically these are key things that if you're paying your franchise tax, your minimum $800 on time each year, that'll be that'll show as good here. And then as long as you keep your filing up to date, this should show as good as well. So to look at the history here, you can click here and see what you've filed in the past. It's basically all public information and can be downloaded. The due date for it is typically listed right here, and it's based off your registration date, so it can be different for each person. So it's kind of different from like filing taxes where it's basically April 15th or the 18th with a weekend, that kind of thing. This date is it varies. So here in this case, I need to file and update mine every year since it's a corporation and not an LLC. I need to do that by September 30th. So here, if I click on history, we can see that I initially registered the business in 2012. And if I click on download, I can actually grab and see basically a copy of my articles of incorporation. If I close that here. But if we look, you can see that I've basically filed statements of information. So here, if you go to the last one, we can download this here. And just as an example, you can see what this looks like. Basically, it's just tracking your office address, mailing address, business address, officers here. So in the case of a single business owner, you can serve in all three capacities. As well as you can serve as, there's at least one director required, and you can serve in that position as well. You can also be the one to receive your own documents on behalf of your business for legal purposes. That's called an agent service per process. So you can have that your name listed that way. But basically, this document is what's required to update. So what's nice is California launched a new dashboard with an account system attached to it. So here, if we want to basically update this, if you haven't yet kind of just accessed yours before, say someone else registered or we did with JWJ Accounting and took care of that for you, once you create an account, you can come in here, request access to it, and basically it'll just it'll give you the ability to update your filing. So in this case, what I will do is I'm going to log in. I think I can do that right over here. Let's see. I don't think I need to request a PIN, although it sounds like you can do that if you haven't. That seems to be a new request. Let me see if I can log in here. Not sure why that login button went away, but basically this just opened up another screen. I already have an account. under JWJ accounting so that we can provide and do updates for more than just ourselves but other clients as well. Now that I am logged in, if you see up here, I should be able to go to this same window here, either search or file statement information from the menu that I chose. And we'll go back here again. I know I already have access to mine because I've requested it. So if you notice here, this panel is still the same, but now there's a file statement of information option. So what we want to do is click on this. And this is essentially the workflow here. And if you're doing it for the first time, you'll have to basically go through each step and fill this out. But the nice thing is this workflow is really smooth now and even kind of consolidates the steps you have to take. In this case, my information is still current, so I'm just going to kind of go through each of these boxes and just check that everything looks okay. But I will point out to you kind of what steps you would take if you want to make changes or enter things in for the first time. So this whole thing takes maybe 10 minutes the first time, and then in subsequent years, it might only take you just a couple minutes to come in here and do this. So if you want to read terms and conditions, go for it. I trust that we have to comply with the state for that. Here is the submitter. I do have to enter my information in. And I'll just put JWJ Accounting as my address. And I'll put my cell phone. All right, so we have all three of these. Here, entity details is already pre-populated. Corporation name, entity, formed in the state of California. And again, mine's a corporation in which I did S selection, also known as an S Corp. Here, you can essentially, put in a single address, and then what you can do is you can carry it over into the other for both mailing and physical office address. In this case, so I've already got mine entered. I copied over for the same mailing address, and I don't think this is necessarily required if this basically serves as my main address. So I think we can go forward here. Here in this case, if you wanted to basically add an officer, here's where you would do it. And you'll actually select each position 3 times if you're a solo business owner until you see basically that it's assigned all 3 roles to you. So once you've done that, you've satisfied this section. Director is the next basically mandatory requirement. You have to have at least one. So again here, if I click on myself, I was actually able to, I want to say before, you can all, select from other addresses if you've got them, which is just allows you to fly through this real quick. But you can also select the individual, I think, when you do that. But anyway, so I've got myself filled out here already, so I'm just going to go next. Here, I also serve as my own agent for service and process, so any legal documents or, that use this address or people use this address as a reference point to get or send me something, it just comes to me. If you have a privacy issue, you can go ahead and hire an agent for that purpose, and they might charge you a couple hundred, maybe $200-300 a year to serve as that. Or you could also have JWJ Accounting do that for you as well. Click next. Type of business, I already have that in here. I'm perfectly fine with them sending me emails, so I opted into that. I have both of my business addresses in here already. This asks you about any outstanding judgments from Division of Labor. So in this case, we say no. Here, this gives all the information that I can review and approve. And down here, I will sign. And this is how you add a signature. Basically, just type in your name again. Today, save. And I'll go next. So in my case, I had till, I think, late September to do this of this year. Ideally, if you think you're going to move or need to change this information, or if you are going to have some kind of capitalization strategy and take on shareholders or even new officers, And if you do that, then in terms of officers, you would want to update that here, or directors. And you might want to wait, kind of towards the deadline each year to do that. But if you're a solo business owner and, it's not, the timing of it isn't going to change in my case, and I'm also using this as an example, but I'm happy just to go in here and go ahead and update everything. So let's see, update the it looks like they don't actually charge a fee in between filing periods. I'm not sure why that is, but typically this fee is, I want to say $20 or $25 for an LLC, and I think the same for an S corporation. But it could be that they're actually just the fact that I'm not falling within the 3-month window that is preceding the deadline of late September. It could be that they just allow me to come in here and do this anytime I want without charging a fee. So that's kind of nice, but let's wait till the end to make sure. File online, file online. Cool. So no charge. And here, nowadays, they allow you to download these things immediately. So we can click here. You can take a look how it generates. Basically, again, all my information is unchanged, but now you can see that I just filed on January 20th of this year. And shows signature, and it looks like some kind of timestamp with an identification code. So that's done. And an acknowledgement. This isn't really that important, but it's kind of like a certification that this information was submitted and approved with the California Secretary of State. And the form itself is downloadable through the search feature. So, even if you don't download it, you can always come back here and check on it. But that's pretty much how you take care of your statement of information. It's a good idea to take care of it because if you don't, the state can assess a penalty, I think, of $250, and you'll typically get that in no specific time frame. If for some reason you do, there is an abatement form that you can search for and request essentially that they forgive it. But it's best just to put a reminder in your calendar each year based off your due date and go ahead and file it. So anyway, that's it for you. California Statements of Information, easy to do. All right.